Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. First thing off, just want to thank the channel members. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you more than you know. And for anybody that's new, that's coming through, or that's watched a video or two, if you like the content, I promise I'll keep making more. All I ask is you please subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification icon so you'll know when new videos are uploaded and when I have live streams and things like that. So today's kind of a very weird video. I'm trying to even decide where to thought, because basically the thought starts in some of the live streams people have been talking about. I should do a collection dump video. And I've been thinking about how I can do that. When I first started with channel members, I ran through each of my Apache cases for the channel members, and then made those public, but my collection has changed so much since then. I should probably do it and just do it in a more, I guess, systemized way. So what I started to do is, what I need to do is, I've done some of my slip joints that I've been getting along the way and documented when I kind of fell down the rabbit hole with this particular knife, the Ohio River Jack, my first slip joint. And basically it's become, I don't, it's, I'm a knife addict, right? So bottom line, I would never own a slip joint. I was not interested. I did not watch content on slip joints. I did not have any desire to own a slip joint. When I was a kid, I was traumatized because I cut myself on my dad's little double bladed penknife that he was sharpening. So I cut my finger when I was like 8 and got an ass chewing at the same time. Maybe that had something to do with it. But I like flashy knives. I like fun knives. I like fidgety knives. I like my fixed blades, which was a whole other story because I didn't like those before either. So anyway, I digress. This is my squirrel brain. So one night at just tell the story again. One night about 2 o'clock in the morning, I was asleep. I sleep real irregular hours, woke up for some reason, went to Brother Austin's store at Traditional Knives, Pocket Knives, and picked up this Ohio River Jack. Have no memory of doing it. I do not drink. I do not drug. I am sober. But the point is, I was unconscious, bought this knife, did not only buy this knife, use the code Lefty10. So I'm convinced that Lefty played some dark magic in that and aided in that sale. But this is the first slip joint that came into my collection. Ironically, I was kind of mad at myself for getting a slip joint because I thought, John, you don't even like slip joints. And then this had not showed up in the mail yet. And I was looking at traditional pocket knives, kind of having buyer's remorse, wondering if I got the right shape. And I saw this hedgehog. First, I saw his titanium exclusive, and I noticed the hollow grind. I was like, wow, that looks thin. And about this time, I was hearing about Jack Wolfs and how thin they were. And so me being an idiot, being a collector, being an enthusiast, being someone who did not like slip joints or have any need for slip joints, I bought this before this even arrived. Okay, so these are my first 2 slip joints. So then I got with Lefty EDC because he's my brother, and we do a little live stream together every other weekend on Saturday nights called Off the Edge. And I'm trying to find the other slip. He was going to hook me up. He was going to sell me a slip. He was going to sell me this slip right here that has a knife in it that we'll get to. This Lancelot leather clip slip, because the clip, he'd had a problem with the clip. I love it. I think it's perfect slip. And he threw this in. I wasn't expecting this coming. The problem was, at the time, I only had the one slip joint. The other one didn't fit in this. So what I had to do, and it's not the knife that's in there, I had to get my 3rd slip joint so I would have a slip for the other knife. Well, what that did is that left one knife without a slip. So I had to go to Etsy and I found a company that sold slips for, you know, three for, I forget how much. It was cheap. They're basically, you'll see some of these slips as we get into this. But long story short, I had three slips. I needed one. So I needed to then get two more slip joints. So as we get into this collection dive, it's going to be real quick. It's not going to be quick. It's going to be a long ass video because I'm a knife addict. But I'm just going to run through my collection, starting with the Ohio River Jack, which was the first slip joint that brought me into the slip joint world. And I will tell you now that I carry one in my pocket and remind me before the end of the video. So when I do this complete slip joint dump, it's included. But the Ohio River Jack and the sheep's foot is my first slip joint that came in my collection. Moving on, like I said, I ordered the Hedgehog QSP. That's in the Ohio River Jack is in M390. The Hedgehog here is in 14C 28N in carbon fiber. It is a fantastic modern slip joint. Hollow grind like I was just showing you guys, and it was kind of like my second, and it's one that I still love to this day. I love this little pokey tip. It's kind of a sheep's footy worn with that little tip, little sheep's foot with that tip, and it just cuts like a dream. I would break out paper, guys, and show you how well these cut, but it would take us forever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one quick cut. We're going to get it out of our system. And I'm going to try not to do that with every one because we just won't have time. So, second slip joint in my collection, and I'm not going to count these because I really don't want to know how many I have. Then I discovered Rough Riders. I'd heard about them. I'd heard about the quality, not of the Rough Rider, but the Rough Rider Reserve. I'd heard about both, that the quality was good on the Rough Rider Reserve, but it was a little bit better, or good on the Rough Rider, but a little bit better on the Rough Rider Reserve. And when I saw the price of these knives, being that I'm an addict and I've become numb to spending money on knives, hundreds of dollars, these were a bargain at under 70 bucks. I could pick up a unique Warncliffe like this Easy Pull. I'm just going to give you the numbers of these because I won't remember the names. The Rough Rider Reserve 0009. And these are in D2, very slicey. They're modern slip joints only in the steels that they use for the blades. And everything else is done pretty traditionally. They're made overseas, but they're nice knives. So the first one I picked up of those was the Easy Pull. And then I found another unique looking, because now I'm in full swing buying shit because I'm looking at slip joints in addition to looking at the other knives that I like. And my first Rough Rider Reserve was great, and I was going to see if the other one was, and I found this one for like 53 bucks. Micarta D2, great blade. I've been learning to sharpen. I just almost cut my finger. I've been learning to freehand with my slip joints. After I cut with them, I'll freehand with my little work sharp stone. I've got small 4-inch stones for my fixed Blitz 360, but I've just been hand sharpening these guys. But that was the second one that came, or the second Rough Rider Reserve, which is the RRR 020 model number. And then I wanted this weird big one because I saw it. And again, I'm an addict. I'm a collector, I guess. And this one was my Micarta D2. I liked the big. It was what is at the time my biggest slip joint. I thought it was super cool. Like the kind of chisel style blade, even though that front's not sharpened, it's very chisely. This is like a farm knife, I guess. It's not like the kind of coffin shape, bullet ends. But yeah, so I had this big guy, but I didn't have any little guys. So Rough Rider Reserve Copperhead is a little Warncliffe. It is the RRR 016. All these are in D2 in micarta with brass liners, brass inserts, and stainless bolsters. So we're continuing to buy Rough Rider reserves. And I figured, hell, they had this one in regular steel, regular D2, or this Damascus. The only reason I got the Damascus is because I was developing kind of a pattern of that denim micarta that Rough Rider uses. So this one I think was my most expensive Rough Rider reserve. It's the see if I can read this number. The RRR 0230, and it's D2 Damascus, and it's been a good knife. And then I discovered that Amazon, and I'm talking to my people, my knife community buddies, you guys, learning about different slip joints because I'm pretty much in full swing and just buying shit now. And this doesn't count the slip joints that I've gifted out, but this is the Brother 1508. This is an Amazon brand that I can absolutely 100% highly recommend. If you want to try a slip joint on a budget. This knife was $35, $36. I had another one that was a denim micarta that I gifted to one of our brothers in the community. And it was a spear point. So there are two shapes that you can get on Amazon if you just search Watchman Brother Slip Joint. This is the 1508. You can get this with carbon fiber and stainless like I did, or you can get it with a pearl bone looking handle. I'm sure it's synthetic bone because they're 35 bucks, but it was a great deal. I buy shit from Amazon all the time, as y'all know, so I picked that up. And then I started hearing about Tucson and what they do is slip joints. I'm a big fan of White Mountain Knives, as you guys know. By the way, if you're over at White Mountain Knives, you buy something, use code Javon10, save 10%. I don't get anything out of it. You guys get the savings. I just get clout because Austin's like, thanks, dude, or appreciate you helping me send a customer by. So yeah, use Javon10 if y'all want to help me out. But a lot of these slip joints like this one are in stock now. But what I love about Tucson and their other knives is I've always marveled at the quality. Well, the Tucson slip joints, and I think I have 3 of them, maybe 4. We'll look at it as we go through the collection, but they all just blow me away. And this is a night morning design, has a fuller, kind of like the designs we see from other modern folders, right, that are locking knives. M390 for the blade steel. Got this real nice vertical grind, titanium handles. Guys, this knife, 88 bucks before you put in Javon10 and save another 8 bucks. That is a hell of a deal. It's a non-traditional, I call it a modern slip joint, but this will be another time because I'm only going to cut this one piece of paper. It is slicey as F. It is super sharp, just like, I mean, Tucson, guys, punches way over the fence. I have no affiliation with them. I just buy their stuff because it's good. And this Tucson, don't know the model number, but if you go to White Mountain Knives and you put in Tucson slip joint and then filter that way, it'll show you all their slip joints that are in stock. Or you can look at all of them and put your email address in there if there's one that you like that's not in stock, because I see them rotate through. But this is a great buy at 88 bucks, and I love it. Then I got an email or a text from Smoky Mountain Knives for their Sight Busters. And I got to look it on there, and they had this exclusive line of Bokers with this, if I'm not mistaken, A1 tool steel. If I'm not mistaken, and I could very well be mistaken. But these acid wash blades, these burlap micarta handles, these copper bolsters, and these copper liners. And I really liked it. It was a Solage in Germany Boker, and these were on sale for 99 bucks. Newsflash, they were like 160 to 140, and they're now $74. And I have no affiliation with Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Unfortunately, I don't have a Javon10 code, but these next 3 knives I'm going to show you are all Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusives. And you'll notice that the copper, it all started very shiny, but you tell me which one I've carried the most. But this is the club. They also have this in the N390, but I'm taking too much time on each of these knives. And then this is the Boker Solage in Germany. This one does not have a half stop. Same A1 tool steel, same exact copper burlap micarta. And then my favorite, look at that patina, is the little Barlow. I love this knife, guys. All of these you can pick up for $74.95, the ones that are left in stock. But I love the little Barlow. So I picked up 3 of these so far. All 3. And they have one more. They have a Stockton. This is the Trapper, or this is the Trapper. This is the larger of the 2. They've got one that looks very similar, but it's got a little kick out back here. Pocket Metal could correct me right now and tell me, but I think this might be the Stockton. Or it's the Trapper, either one. Anyway, moving on. So then I start looking at more modern slip joints, different ones, because I'm not ready to go into Jack Wolf land. I've decided that I would own a slip joint. I now own, by this time, 12 or 13, but I'm never going to own a Jack Wolf. It's just out of my range. I have no need. Great Eastern Cutlery, I don't even know what they do. Who are they? I wasn't even there yet, right? But I did see this little knife because now, like I say, I always go to websites that sell knives to see what's come in. And now I'm looking at an entire other category of knives in addition to what I'm currently looking at. I'm looking at slip joints. So being the addict or the collector or the enthusiast or the influencer or the YouTube channel or whatever you want to call it, I keep buying knives. And this is the MKM Root. It is a cool modern folder, super thin blade, M390, aluminum handles, great half stop. Comes with this little slip, this magnetic that you can put in your pocket and either lock it over like that. You can lock it shut and just drop it in your pocket. I think it's great, super cool. Pick that up. That's part of my slip joint collection as we go through Javon slip joints. So what I did not have was a side buster. And I mentioned that. And a brother from another mother, who I'm going to have to call out because he's so kind, Jim Miller, sent me a case side buster because I said I wanted to try a case side buster. I love the shape. I love the look of the blade. When I got it, I was like, holy smokes, this thing is huge. I loved it. I love the hollow ground blade. I love the drop point, super slicey. It's a farm knife, right? It's a work knife. But it was just a little big to go in my pocket every day. For example, you can look at this next to my real big Rough Rider, next to my Hippo Toe, and those are all big slip joints. But they have a Sidebuster Junior. And so I got on Amazon, and first one I picked up was 440C, and I gifted that to a brother from another mother. And then this is a carbon steel, synthetic, no half stop, but just a $35 made in the USA slip joint that I really like. I think it's a classic. If you're looking at it totally objectively and you're looking at 2 knives for $35, the value goes where you put it, right? This knife's not made nearly as well as this knife, but this knife's made in America. It's a classic pattern. There's history behind it. I get the feels when I carry this knife. I know this is a very well-built knife that cuts better if I was going to be using it for cutting, but you know, you got to make those decisions or buy them both like I did. They're 35 bucks. So moving on, were now, I was, not we, I say me, I was kind of in this side buster type pattern. And no, I have not gotten a Pioneer Jack yet. But I did learn from one of my good buddies in the community, Brother Pocket Metal. If you're not following him, please do. You should be subscribed to his channel. I join him most Monday nights for his Metal Mondays. But this is a Macarin made in Italy. I learned about this knife through him and through collectorknives.net, I think is the name of the website. And they rate their knives by the factory effort where it was made. So this is an Italy-made knife, perfectly centered. It is, if I'm not mistaken, D2, stonewashed, and nice micarta, nice stainless spring, nice half stop. I love it. So, and it was about 54 bucks. Moving on. As I go to White Mountain Knives all the time, because I've shopped there. That's why I'm glad that I've got a code that you guys can use when you shop there. And being a lover of Tucson, I saw this knife, and I think this might be in stock now. I know it looks hokey when you first look at it, but again, I was never going to buy a slip joint, so I would never buy anything with a etching on it. But I did, and I'm glad I did, because when I got it, this is a bone handle, and this is an etched, what I think is either an alligator or a lizard chasing, getting ready to eat a little bug or something. That's the way I see it. I see it as some kind of lizardy thing getting ready to eat something that's getting ready to have a bad day, and I like that. And what I really like is this beautiful satin M390 blade. This is a Wong design. It is the, I mean, top quality titanium liners, bone handle, M390 blade, deep hollow grind. We're not going to cut a lot of stuff. Whoops, that was a cutting fail, but that was on me. That was not on the knife. That was on the cutter. But yeah, that's the Tucson Wong Designs. Don't know the number of it, but if you go to White Mountain Knives and look at their Tucson slip joints, if you like any of these, they don't have a lot in stock, but you'll see the ones like I've got probably in stock. So moving on, I also was looking at other knives, and this all happened, guys, in the period of about, I don't know when my first slip joint video was. I need to go back and check, but I want to say this has been going on for maybe 6 months at the most. But this is a little Fox Italian-made knife that I thought was really cool. I'd read some good reviews on it. It is M390, super light, has no skeletonized scales inside there, beautiful micarta handles, fantastic little half stop, great walk and talk. It's even got what they call finger grooves. I guess they don't call it jimping in the slip joint world, but it's got these finger grooves here and this ricotta, which is the part of the slip joint that's not sharpened. They look different, and they're designed to protect your hand if they should close. But this is an all-of-mine lock up very well in terms of, I don't see how, knowing it's a slip joint, using it like a slip joint, you would cut yourself if you were paying attention. And it comes with its own little slip too, and it was about, I want to say, 90 bucks. Moving on, slip joints. This isn't really a slip joint, but I'm going to show you guys a couple of what I consider modern traditional knives, and this is a double detent from Tucson. It's a very unique knife that when it came into stock, it's D2. I love the grind. I love the little spear point shape. I love the fidgetability of it, even though it's a non-locking knife, and I carry it in my left pocket like I do my slip joints. But you'll see two other knives that are Tucsons, like this one coming up, that are double detents. So they're not actually slip joints, but I put them in that same category. Non-locking knife. Moving on, I picked up this little guy. I believe at White Mountain Knives, guys. And they've got this. This is the Concept Bexar. They have this in a sheep's foot blade and in a drop point blade. I got the carbon fiber handles, which are around 80 bucks. I think you can also get this knife around 70 bucks in micarta, but it is M390 blade, has this finger groove, a little half stop. It's a little guy. The half stop's not very stiff, which is good. I mean, you've got the ricotta here that keeps your hand. I put my finger in that ricotta, to be honest with you. When I hold the slip joint, that's kind of what it's there for. But they all got really good sharpening choils. It's just a little bruiser. Love this little knife, and that is the Concept Bexar. Moving on. Jacob Lundquist Q-Vist. I'm a big fan of the variant. Lefty EDC, who used voodoo to make me buy my first slip joint, had talked about this knife, and this is one of the best slip joints in my collection, guys. This is the Q-Vist Vanish. You've got the variant, which I don't have close to me, and I don't want to slow the video down, but this looks just like it, except it's a little slip joint. titanium, 20 CV, super slicey, super sharp. I'm running out of time. I know you guys are getting bored. I won't cut much more. We'll move right through it, but the Q-Vis Vanish, my slip joint collection was getting out of hand, and I was starting to question my sanity and wonder what to do for a storage solution. Got on and found the Kaiser, what's that modern folder I got most recently? It's the, I forget. That's a cool knife that I picked up from Kaiser. And at the same time, I saw this little knife. It was on sale for 99 bucks. I was aware of this knife because Dark Gravity had purchased one when we were at our local knife store here over where he lives in Athens, or actually in the Huntsville location. And this is an S35VN Kaiser model. It's a Vangiano design. It's got this choil that's great, kind of like some of the Devo slip joints where your finger is actually in that blade. You're not going to cut yourself with this slip joint. It's got a half stop, even though it's me not being a geometry major. I know that's not 90 degrees, so that's not half. But you got the finger pull, the walk and talk that people refer to. And then this one is just a great tool because, again, you can move that blade, but your finger is part of that choil. So that is the Kaiser zip slip. And as we dive into what are we having here? Okay, so this is a knife I picked up from a NAF sale. This one I've been watching. It's an Italian knife. It is a Lion Steel Best Man. They have it in both a clip point and a spear point. This is a spear point. It is carbon fiber, titanium, M390, super slicey, great knife. I've heard bad things. People have had bad experiences with these, but the people that I actually talked to, a couple of other people, have perfect specimens like mine, centered, doesn't have any really gaps. I mean, you could maybe call I guess it could be tighter here on the carbon fiber, but that's not a review, and that's just me nitpicking. But the Lion Steel Best Man is a slip joint in my collection as we dive through it. See what's in this little slip, because we're just running through it now. And this is a Spyderco that I thought was really cool. I'm not going to get into the story about this knife. I don't know if I've done a video on it yet, but if I haven't, I will. It was kind of the birth of something that they thought was going to change with TSA requirements that didn't change, or the law that Spyderco wanted to comply with that never became a law. But this is the Spyderco Rhodey. Cool little G10 or FRN and N690 little slip joint. And it's got the same choil type deal on the Ricosta there, in a weird little sheep's foot blade, but I find this to be a real handy knife. Moving on, and we have one of our first two of the next. These are the double detents, which are not traditional, not true slip joints, but I consider them traditionals because they're non-locking. And I think these are some of the coolest knives. I've not seen these come back in stock at White Mountain Knives yet. But this one is carbon fiber, very, very light. It's the top flipper. It's a wickedly deep hollow grind clip point on this specific one. And this one is S90V. I forget the designer, but the next knife I'm going to show you is the same designer. But what I love about it is the double detent. This one is a little tricky for me because I cannot do the reach around effectively because this tab doesn't come back far enough for my finger because it's short. I have to open it other ways, either usually this way, just like the regular top flippers. And you guys know I hate top flippers. When I bought this was the second of these knives, because the first one I bought, and these are both Tucson's, was this one. And this one, I won't stall, but this one, that flipper tab, if you look at them, same designer, same design language, same maker's mark, but see how this flipper comes back further? So this is S90V and a cool Bowie clip point. This is M390, same designer, killer Wharncliffe, super sharp, super fidgety because it's that double detent. Whoops, I just failed it. But if you get the rhythm, you can sit there and you can pop it. So I look at these double detents as really good fidget knives and probably the least safe of any of my traditionals. But this one I also like because I can middle finger flick it. Pow. Bang. But anyway, that's Two Sons. These were also the Two Sons in either M390 or S90V, depending on which of the two models. And graphite, carbon, or carbon fiber, you're looking at 88 bucks, which is what all these high-end blade steel Two Sons seem to be running. And then I picked this up at White Mountain Knives. I didn't know it was going to be this size. This was a $40 slip joint from Tucson in 14C. So when I saw it on their website, it looked like that. And it looked like that. But I thought it was going to be maybe that size. So when it came in, I was surprised. It's a big slip joint, but I love it. I mean, it fits my hands. It's full size. It's got just wicked sharp little cleaver type sheep's footy blade. It's got great walking talk. I picked up this little hide and drink slip from the same one that I used for my little Knipex. And this is just a great, great slip joint. If you like a big slip joint, the biggest in my collection. That's the Tucson. You can get that at White Mountain Knives now. Use Javon 10. You can also get this at White Mountain Knives. This is a Tucson that I picked up that is copper and titanium. And guys, the only downside of this knife for me is it has a clip. I don't like my slip joints to have clips. The good side of it is it doesn't interfere with the slip. What is to be marveled at is the quality of this titanium and this copper and how it's almost laid in there perfectly. I mean, there's no other way to explain it. I've never seen a knife built like that. M390, very traditional looking blade, long design, great walk and talk. They also have it in carbon fiber and titanium, which I didn't know about when I bought this. And these are in stock, 88 bucks, right around there. So moving on, the Penguin came back. I gave my Penguin away in a giveaway, but I held on to it for a long time. It was one of my first budget knives. I loved that knife, thought it was awesome. And then I saw, after I jumped down the slip joint rabbit hole, that QSP was doing a Penguin, same size as the original Penguin, slip joint. Guys, I love it. Not going to talk much about it, not much to say. I've got a review on it. If I don't, I will. Check it out. Moving on, this I thought was a really cool knife. I saw it DLT. I'd seen it before back when I used to say I'd never own anything like that because I hate slip joints. This is a Serge Panchenko razor knife, titanium. You just put a regular razor blade in it, but it's got really stiff walk and talk. Never need to sharpen it. You can grip it right there. It's perfect utility knife. Serge Panchenko razor knife. Moving on, this was a cool one. White Mountain Knives, I found this. You can also find them on Max Ace's site. This is the Max Ace Beetle. It's got the weirdest stops. It's like a ratchet. You feel these little stops more than just a half stop. Very safe, but what makes this knife 100% just whack, you would never have to sharpen this knife because it is so freaking thin. The blade stock on this is thin, thin, thin. It is M390. It is carbon fiber, titanium, fantastic knife. I think this was about 150 bucks before my 10% discount, but that's the Max Ace Beetle. We're getting close, guys. Don't let me forget to pull out what's in my pocket. This is my second Viper knife. Viper, these are what I consider my higher end, most recent slip joints. And this is the Viper Hug. It's M390 titanium. This is the dual titanium. You can also get it with the micarta that comes all the way down the handle. This is the dual bolster. But this is the Wharncliffe. Fantastic knife. Comes with that slip. These are up there, probably about 160 bucks maybe. And then its companion is the Viper Knives Twin. And this is just, I love the look of this blade. I think it's very aggressive. You can get this knife, both of these knives, in all types of different finishes, different colorways. You can get them in carbon fiber, micarta, titanium, brass, you name it, all different kinds. So that's 2 down. That was quick. Moving on, we come to the first knife that I said I wouldn't get. And it's in my pocket, I think. Let me see. Yep, that was my first one. I didn't set out to buy this one. I set out to buy the Feel Good Jack, but I saw that wherever I bought this had it in stock, and I'd always loved the look of that blade, the deep thinness of that hollow grind, that brushed satin. It's just belt satin. It's just sick. I love the shape of the blade. It is, and I told y'all I wouldn't do this, but they're just super slicey. So I picked it up instead of the Feel Good, and that's in, I think, the Shred Gold carbon fiber, or yellow, I forget what it's called, but it's kind of a yellowy goldy carbon fiber. Jack Wolf, definitely the nicest knife that I'd ever touched at this point. And then I went back to get what I originally came for, which was the Feel Good Jack. And I'd said I'd never buy a Jack Wolf. I now had a comfort zone of I wanted to get a couple. My worry was, being an addict and a collector, that I would just start buying all of them. So far, I've been able to, using great restraint, not buy anymore yet. I say yet because, guys, these knives are sick. The nicest knives, again, I'm not going to say the best because I'm going to show you the rabbit hole I've fallen down most recently. But for a modern slip joint, this is the best in the game. That absolutely fantastic. Jack Wolf, Feel Good Jack, my #1 favorite Jack Wolf. Well, then I had a chance to get this when they dropped. These dropped about 2 months ago. This is the my first Great Eastern Cutlery knife, guys. And this one is in, I want to say, 440 tool steel. Yeah, carbon tool steel, model 862123 GEC, Titusville, Pennsylvania, USA, planet Earth. This is the Northfield UNX LD, Yellow Rose. Guys, this is made in a factory using the same equipment, using the same techniques that they used to use in the old days. Actual bone, dyed bone. You've got these beautiful bolsters. I was blown away by this knife. I had Built in America pride. It fit perfectly in my Lancelot leather slip. I loved it. Moving on, I had an opportunity because I jumped off in the slip joint world and now had my first Great Eastern Cutlery. I had a good friend that had a couple of Great Eastern Cutlery pairs and showed them to me in case I was interested in either one of them, and I went for both of them. Again, I am, and Ben Belkin from Jack Wolf Knives will agree with me and tell you that what Great Eastern Cutlery does is very special. I can remember when he used to go to their meetups before Jack Wolf. Jack Wolf was his brainchild, but it wasn't yet a business. Because he was talking about it. This is when I used to see him on Lefty's stream, and he talked about this brand, but super thin, super just beautiful black and red micarta. This one is in, if I'm not mistaken, 440C. It is the Cyclops Steel Wong, the 861121. And then this little guy here that I just love is the penknife, Great Eastern Cutlery 053121SS for stainless steel. Got a little logo there. Super sharp, great walk and talk, perfectly centered, wonderful stag bone. I mean, guys, Come on, I just fell in love with these things. I mean, they deserve much better slips. Which brings us to the end of the road, guys. And this isn't even really count, but it does because it was a gift from a community member that blew me away, and it's also a Great Eastern cutlery. The caveat is this one has a lock. So this is a gift from one of the kindest G's in the community. And this says it's the Pioneer. It says Tite Cutlery, made in the USA, GEC. This is carbon steel, 235120. And what I think is so cool about this knife is it's got this old school liner lock. So it's still got the slip joint, but it's also got that liner. So it's got a really stiff pull. So it's not the easiest knife to open or close, but once you clear that liner, you can then close it and bring it home. Guys, we did it. We finished it. Only 41 minutes. This will be my longest video ever. Guys, I'm not going to waste your time. I love you all. I think a regular collection dive might be excruciating, but we might do it one box at a time. Please do me a favor. Look out for that guy or gal to your left. Look out for that guy or gal to your right. Look out for one another. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.